My grandmother, Susan, was a prayer warrior. Her last name was Rust. She married actually her school teacher, who was 12 years older than she was.
Was that risque back then?
Maybe that should put that in.
That's okay.
If it's for the family, though.
Yeah.
Well, and they had age disparity on
Yeah.
a lot of people back then.
He wrote beautiful love letters to her. I still have one in that thing there. But anyway, Grandmother Susan Rust lived in Necessity, Texas, and she and Grandpa were just the typical homesteader type people. They grew their own food. Money wasn't that plentiful. They had 7 children. And Grandmother quite often would go to the smokehouse, which was a little distance from the house. And the children, she would go there to pray and worship the Lord, and the children would hear her shouting, because she's praising the Lord. And her prayer life was remarkable. But anyway, Grandpa knew the miracles that had happened from her praying. So he lost his blue tick dog, disappeared, and he was just distraught about it. He looked high and low and couldn't find the dog. So he went into his wife and he said, Susie, would you please pray? Would you please pray that I would find my dog? And she said, well, yes, I will. And so that night she prayed and prayed into the night, as she often did. And the next morning she told him, there was no telephone, so there's no way she could have known. But anyway, she told him, she said, well, Mr. Rust, she always called him Mr. Rust. Mr. Rust, you go down so many miles down this road, and when you come to town, you'll come to a big white house, and there's a big oak tree there, and your dog will be tied to that tree. Well, he didn't question it at all, because he knew the miracles that had happened from her praying. So he got on his old horse and went and got to the place where she told him. She even told him the name of the street and all the directions. So he got there and he saw his dog tied to the tree. Well, the dog is just baying and leaping up and down because he's so excited to see my great-grandpa Benjamin. But so suddenly a man comes out of the house and he said, what do you want? And Grandpa Benjamin said, I want my dog. That's my dog. And he said, that's not your dog. Why do you say? Because I guess it was kind of an expensive dog.
Right.
And he said, that's not your dog. That's my dog. I found him. And Grandpa said, well, you untie him, and we'll see which one he runs to, and that'll tell the tale. So
How long was the dog gone by then?
Oh, days.
Okay.
So anyway, the man came out and untied the dog. And of course the dog went leaping and running to Grandpa and jumped up on him. And so Grandpa got on his horse. The dog was going happily behind him all the way home.
I like that story.